you guys can do your evens. Okay. All right, so we're getting into chapter 10 next week, and they're called rational function. We did the rational function part with those asymptotes, but we're going to get into the algebra of it. So if you like algebra, this is going to be kind of your chapter. When we look at this, it says factor completely and solve for the zeros. So I'm not going to have you guys solve for the zeros. I'm going to have you cross this out, and I'm just going to have you factor completely just to get warmed up. Okay, so factor completely. Remember, this is called difference of two squares. Difference of two squares. Hi, how are you? Your hair looks nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay, difference of two squares. So if you remember, we did that little square root method like this. What is the square root of 4x squared? It's the square root of 4. 2. Yeah, so we got 2x. And the square root of 9 is 3. Cell phones away, okay, during instruction. So remember, difference of two squares, one is a plus and one is a minus, and you're done. Okay. Questions? Pretty straightforward. Let's do another one to practice. The square root of 64 gets me 8. What's the square root of 81? 9. Okay, so remember, one has a plus sign in it and one has a minus sign. The hardest part is recognizing that, that is the method you have to do. Okay, that's it. Questions? Again, that's called difference of two squares, and it's because they're both perfect squares. 64 is a perfect square. I can take a square root of it. 81 is a perfect square. No, this is just review to get ready for. Yeah, we did this like last semester. Yeah. So this is kind of like a prep. It's an intro to what's to come and skills you should have going into next week. And yes, factoring is something that was always challenging, I feel like, for a lot of you, and that's okay. We'll get better at it. Okay, the easy factoring ones, quote unquote. Remember, if A has a 1 all the way on front, if the number all the way on front is 1, you can do that. What's up? We are doing odds. We're going to do number 5. So this one is what multiplies to 10 and adds to -7. Now, kind of walk you through how to do this one so that you can practice 4 and 6 on your own. Okay, a lot of people did really well on this one if you understand this process. So remember, 10 divided by 1 is 10. That's not going to get me 7. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Is 2 and 5 somehow going to create 7? Yes. Yeah. They both have to be what in order to get -7?
Oh, negative?
Yeah. So -2 minus 5 are going to be those magic numbers that we use now. And watch how easy it is. Because the value in front is 1, we are able to just go ahead and use those numbers. So x minus 2 and x minus 5, and we're done. The hardest part is just getting those numbers, I feel. Okay. Again, pretty straightforward. Hopefully this is kind of in your brain a little bit because it is something that we practiced a lot last semester. Okay. I don't want to move too fast. Cool. The stuff below, pretty easy. The rest, I think that was the hardest part, I think, was the factoring. The stuff below, we're going to kind of zoom by. So odds, take a look here. Simplify each fraction. Again, I told you rational functions, rational expressions is what we're doing next week. These are rational. Rational means ratio, okay, that has that word in it. And the ratio is like a fraction. Okay, so when you simplify, all you're doing, your goal is to cancel things out that is the same on top as it is on the bottom. So take a look. This is going to completely cancel out with this, right? Because they're exactly the same. If I have 5 divided by 5, I get 1. So if I have 3x minus 1 divided by 3x minus 1, I also get 1. Okay. Also, these two cancel. Remember, when you cancel something out, though, you get 1, right? Again, 5 divided by 5 is 1. It's not just 0. Okay, so this is what's left over. 1 on top and x plus 2 on bottom. So 1 over x plus 2, and you're done. Pretty easy. Okay. Again, we're just prepping for what's to come next week. Questions? Okay. This is where it gets a little challenging just because you have to remember rules of exponents, but we will take a full day on rules of exponents next week. Okay, but just to kind of prep you here. I'm just going to cross off 13 for the sake of time. I just want to go ahead and like make sure that you're getting your feet wet, but I want to also allow a lot of time for the math about me. So let's take a look at 15. Again, piece by piece. Right here. What's negative 24 divided by 4? Negative 24 divided by 4.
Negative
Careful.
6.
Yeah, 8's close, but it's going to be negative 6. Okay, so I did that already. Okay, move on. So I already did this piece. X squared divided by x. If I have 2x on top, 1 on bottom, how many is left and where is it? 1. It's on the top, right? The top of the fraction. So I have 1x left. If you notice, there's nothing else. These guys don't cancel, so I'm just going to rewrite it. 3x minus 1 all over x minus 1. We're done. Okay, these guys don't cancel at all. They don't. But I was able to reduce the numbers out in front. And go ahead and flip when you're ready. Back to, look at those beautiful fractions. Remember, I mean, that's like what? When did we do fractions? Like, was it middle school? Was it, I don't even know when you guys do fractions. Yeah, fractions are like a long time ago. You think 6th grade?
I can't even remember.
You can't even remember?
Me neither.
Well, fractions are, I mean, yeah, fractions are important, I think, especially when you're doing like, I know a lot of you were like in foods and stuff, right? Don't you do like a lot of conversions with like, hey, I need 3/4 of a cup, but I only want half the recipe, and you have to do things to that. And do you have to like adjust the recipe based off of it? That's like if you have 3/4 a cup and you're like, well, I only want half of this recipe, then you have to multiply by 1/2. And you have to know how to do that. Okay, that's why fractions, I think, are useful, but a lot of people try to like not deal with them. But what's really nice about fractions, or you have to remember when you're adding or subtracting, you need to make sure that you have a common denominator, which means the bottom is the same. So here they are the same, which is really nice. Okay, so if they're the same, you're able just to add or subtract the numerators. You do nothing with the denominators if you remember correctly. So if I have 5/7 and I take one of those 5s away, how many's left? What's 5 minus 4? 4. Sorry, 5 minus 1. I gave you the answer. 4. So 4/7, and we're done. Again, you do not change the bottom when you are adding and subtracting fractions if they're the same. Questions? Oh, I just did an even. It's all right. Okay, I'll just do the evens on the back just to be consistent. I want you to do 1. Okay. Let's do 18. So if you look here, though, they don't have the same. You see how this one's a 6 and this one's a 3. In order to do any operations with adding or subtracting, you have to change the denominator to match the other one. Well, I can't really change 6 to become 3 unless I divide. That's kind of hard. But I can change 3 to look like 6 by doing what to it? What do I have to multiply 3 by to get 6?
Times 3.
Times 2. Okay, so here's what you have to do. You have to manipulate one of the fractions in order to, again, have the same denominator. Okay, going way back. And we can do that. Why can we do that? 2 divided by 2 is 1. And you can multiply anything by 1. That's why we can do that. So let's rewrite this then. 5/6 plus, here we go, 2 times 2 is 4. And 2 times 3 is 6. And now look, now we can add these. But this fraction is the same as this fraction. If you were to put those both in the calculator, they would be equal to each other. Well, now we can go straight across. What's 5 plus 4?
9.
9. So I have 9/6. And you can leave it like that, or you can reduce it. It's fine. Okay. I will put this over 1 for you so that when you practice it, you know that's over 1. Okay. Questions? Kind of remember that from like. Oh, yeah. Simplifying would be even better, actually. So if you did simplify it,
It'll be 3 over 2.
it'd be 1 1/2, yes. Or it would be 3 over 2, yes. If you want to simplify it. Or 1.5 or 1 1/2. Up here. I know I accidentally did an even, so I was like, I'm just going to be consistent on the back and do evens. Yeah. I'll go back to that. All right, so this one. I like multiplying of fractions way better than I like adding and subtracting because you just do what it says. So when you see multiplication in the middle, you just multiply straight across. So 7 times 3 is 21. What's 8 times 5? Those extra math skills. What'd you say?
40.
Yeah, 40. Very good. And you're done. That's it. Pretty straightforward, right? That's it. Okay, I just want to kind of do those with you so that you were able to kind of look off of something. You have the rest of the period, which is a very long time. You have a half hour. Okay. Again, work on the math about me, work on the worksheet. Okay, do what you need to do. The worksheet will be due Monday, but I feel like you should be able to finish it before you leave. Okay, I'll also extend the math about me to Monday too, in case you need a little bit more extra time.